네, 안녕하세요. 1시 30분부터 한국 오라클 세션 진행.
From 1:30, we'll begin the Korea Oracle Korea session. And in this session, we acquired the SONA, a medical information system. And with this, in order to create a more effective healthcare system, we would like to show you the vision. And Oracle Korea, Mr. Chang Sung-un will make a presentation under the title of the vision and the support measure of Oracle for the more effective healthcare system.
As introduced, I am Chang Sung-woo from Oracle Korea. I would like to deliver you the Oracle's acquisition of Sonar, and related facts will be delivered to you. And also, building on our acquisition, we would like to deliver our message to the healthcare industry. So this is what constitutes my presentation. So this is the rundown of my presentation, and this is an executive summary. I would like to touch upon healthcare industry trend. So actually not confined to the EHR data, social development of affairs and genome data will be included. So we try to take an integrated approach to turn care dependent treatment to wellness dependent treatment. And also we talk about cost efficient factors, and we need to turn from hospital-based to patient-based point of view. And as I will mention later on, and you are all aware of the book, Digital Healthcare, The Future of the Medicine. This is written by Mr. Che, and data is of great importance in digital healthcare industry. So how to integrate and manage data will determine the very survival and entrance preconditions in this industry. So how can we enjoy healthcare industry? And Oracle was a database corporation, but we try to provide healthcare-related solutions based on EHR, and with acquisition of Sonar, we reborn out of the past path. So we try to provide integrated platform for data management and integration, and I will elaborate on more. And now, in the case of COVID-19 pandemic, and data management is an area of Oracle's contribution to data management. And there is a clinical one, and the system allows us to contribute to the development of COVID-19 vaccine. And GPAS is an effort to identify pathogens around the world, such as tuberculosis and COVID-19. So we try to identify subvariants of pathogens. And we have been partnering with Oxford University, and sudden outbreak of COVID-19 pandemic forced us to rapidly develop COVID-19 vaccine. And this is offline work speed, and we have done vaccine development at a historic manner and speed. And actually, we have to identify adverse events and safety issues when we truly inoculate the COVID-19 vaccine into human body. And we are providing and utilizing cloud to identify safety issues within 2 months. And we have a nature of easy to use, so we can collect a broader range of user data so that we can determine whether the COVID-19 vaccines will be distributed or not. And actually, at the point of pandemic, the integrated data and faster access have been given much importance in terms of its functionality and effectiveness. And all the enablers are infrastructure that Oracle is providing. And we are based on cloud-based platform. So we all give you a brief overview of what we are doing in this industry. And that's the last part, and this is the agenda. And as you're all aware of this, healthcare is now turning into transformational phase with convergence of digital technologies. So digital transformation is transpiring in healthcare industry. especially it is true in the COVID-19 pandemic situation. So COVID-19 pandemic kicks disease from transformation into a higher gear in the healthcare industry. So actually, the thing that I've mentioned here is all based on the U.S. market, but you are the expert here. So the U.S. and Korea have different medical conditions and environment. The medical law is very different. So we are not able to provide remote healthcare legally, but in the U.S. it is very open, and remote medicine is allowed in the U.S. law. And we have universal health care and insurance, and the hospital should be a policy holder, and there's fee-for-service is set and fixed. So this is a very different situation from U.S. in terms of Korea. So please keep this in mind. So all the things I've mentioned here are all happenings and trends in the U.S. So please, you can find insight so that it can be incorporated into the Korean market. And this, on that note, this session will be very productive. And there will be changes in healthcare industry, and in particular, there will be a grand change in data. So in the past, healthcare shows is also the data is EHR is confined. However, genome genetic analytics are advanced, so genetic information or data have tremendous data set. C-care, or we have to shift from C-care to well-care throughout our entire lifetime. So this is all linked to life science. So this is why patterns of people and all the data and social behaviors and wearable devices collected data and IoT-based device collected data are all integrated into cloud platform. And we can allow for holistic analysis of this data. So EHR box data, imaging data are all included in our medical data and clinical data and other genomic data and individual behavior data and determinant of health, social data are all integrated into an analytical tool. So the U.S. autonomous data is a category that integrates all this data. And this is the transition that is happening in the U.S. So the data-based digital skills technologies have a lot to play in healthcare industry. And unlike Korea, hospitals in the U.S. and insurance companies are privatized. So there is issues in fee for service. There's very complexity here. So fee-based is the past, and it turns into the value-based. And also there is a respondents in collaboration with hospitals in the U.S. This is a grand trend that we can see in the U.S. market. And through which one promising change is that all the systems are centered around hospitals. That was the story of past, but now it turns into the patient-based services with high quality. And this is a paradigm shift in constituents of the medical industry and healthcare industry. And also to improve quality health services, there might be some movements to apply data in here. So this is a look-like of the healthcare in the future. And this page elaborates details. So if you do want these materials and slide decks, at the end of page, my email address is there. So I will reach out to you and send this slide decks to you via email. You are all aware of this. Because you have interest in healthcare. If you do not read this, I recommend you to read this. This is a book written by Choi Yun-suk. And actually, I am not an expert in healthcare. I am an expert in data, but healthcare and digital convergence leads to digital healthcare. And this book is a 101 or a Bible to understand digital healthcare. And the digital healthcare shows a lot of activities, and this book is well defining all the activities happening in the digital healthcare. So it will improve your understanding of the industry. And at the same time, you can continue your study or research on the digital healthcare based on these book's suggestions. So Dr. Che already mentioned in his book all the issues in the digital healthcare was mentioned in this book, but of which digital is all driven by data. So utilizing digital technologies allowed for collection, integration, and analysis of data, which will be a foundation of the growth of healthcare industry. So better healthcare system can require deep understanding of the potential of data usage. And this is well written in this book. So if you do not read this book, I recommend you to read this book. This is a Bible for digital healthcare. And also, Oracle acquired Sonar, so you can understand this. And Sonar company in Korea was not well known. However, in the US, Sonar and Epic are #1 and #2 medical data service provider and manager in an integrated manner. And in terms of Sonar, it has been collecting medical data for 48 years, and last year, December, 2.8 billion in Korean money, 35 trillion won worth of investment and acquisition was taking place. And Oracle's acquisition of Center completed after passing the review from antitrust regulatory body in 2022. So we completed this acquisition process. What's noteworthy here is that Sonar's EHR database, integrated database, of course, it is confined to the US data and the EU data. However, we can integrate this data into one storage and we can provide service based on cloud. It will increase the applicability of our services. So this is what got Oracle to acquiring Sonar. In the past, actually, in the US and also for Oracle, everything system was set centering around hospitals. So each hospital has each system. So they also generate their own data. So if you want to get access to that data, we have to come and visit that hospitals and get data from them. This is very inconvenient, but the real problem lying here is that if there is emergency situations, when we have to get to the ER, but your doctor that you are seeing in the ER are not able to have access to your past medical record. So there is no accessibility to previous medical history or record. So this leads to impossible and improper medical treatment. And the US and these situations remain true in the US because the territory is very large and big. So fragmented data is the issue. Of course, there is well system established in the US. However, I would like to say fragmentation. So fragmentation happens even if systems are well established. So which leads to non-integration. So under the well-established system, data tend to be fragmented and scattered out. And this is not only confined to Korea, but also to the US. So as I mentioned before, these situations centering around hospitals should be shifted to patient-based healthcare service provision, which requires integration among countries, and medical data should be integrated across countries. So this is a prerequisite. So we have some medical law issues, but this is the future direction that we have to admire for. And in the US, Oracle's acquisition of Thunder laid a certain nationwide pathway for collecting medical data in the US, and this is our vision. And we are trying to collecting data in partnership with existing hospitals' data systems. And this is the Oracle's vision, through which scattered information Of course, system can be scattered and fragmented. However, the medical data should be given proper and timely access with our integrated platform. So building on the integrated platform, we are able to provide faster and high-quality medical services. This is what constitutes Oracle's vision. And of course, Cerner is not able to advance into the Korean market in the near future. Cerner is able to manage data and collecting data, and their business scope is only confined to the US and the Europe. And EHR system service providers are here in Korea. However, it relates to Korean medical law, so this project should be carried out at a national level. But fortunately, digital big data, my data, and medical data have been given access by the KIRA and HIRA, and also medical information can be accessible via application or smartphone app. This is only viewable on web, but HR data should be collected to be provided in a timely manner. This should require infrastructure, and discussions on infrastructure should start in the global stage, so the Korea has to follow suit. And considering amount of data, this requires cloud-based operation. So cloud-based nationwide medical data management is important. Of course, this should be encrypted, and one person can has a encrypted key, and the information is only accessible by that person. And building on agreement, doctors can have access to that data, not only data generated from this hospital, but from hospital B or hospital C. So this system, the establishment of this system is a desirable goal, which should be accelerated. So Oracle's acquisition of Cerner and changes vision are well reflected in my explanation. And actually, Oracle already advanced into the healthcare market with solution provision, and especially data solution. Pharmaceutical companies are carrying out clinical trials and study-related works. There are systems there, and Oracle's solutions are utilized in the field. And 28 big pharma companies are utilizing Oracle data solution. In particular, development of vaccine requires a larger amount of data set, and this is only achievable by Oracle solution. And we have launched Clinical One, which is a only unified platform for clinical trials. And this system allows for clinical trial management, and it is utilized in the development of COVID-19 vaccine and rapid development of vaccine against the COVID-19 pandemic was happened. And also we are able to recruit participants of clinical trials. And the pandemic kicks this trend into a higher gear. And also heads of Oracle decide on acquisition of Cerner because of these circumstances and the pandemic. And also we have partnership with Oxford University, and GPOX is the name. So we are trying to identify new variants and pathogens and subvariants of the pathogens. So that requires a large set of data analysis. So this requires larger capacity of data analysis. So in partnership with University of Oxford, the GPOS was utilized through this system. We are able to identify new variants so that we can incorporate this analysis into a tailor-made vaccine development. And also, as you're all aware, the COVID-19 was running rampant in the US, and we have partnership with CDC to lead to fast vaccine development. Of course, in the past, vaccine development was like this: first approval and then experiment, which consumes a lot of clinical trials and then utilized. In the US, the situation was very urgent, so operation work speed, so fast therapeutic development and experiments are taking place in a simultaneous manner, and so there might be a side effect or adverse events. So VSafe system was developed to identify safety issues, and it was developed within 2 months. And during the development, one of the important lessons learned is that easy-to-use nature leads to larger amount of data analysis. So user-friendly interface that is easy enough for children to use is important. So we collect this clinical data, patient data and safety data, and the system was developed within 2 months, and more than 150 million people participated. And during this process, there was a journal addressing this fact. Actually, clinical trials, there is no pregnant women in the clinical trial. So first, CDC mentioned that the pregnant are not inoculated COVID-19 vaccine, but the pregnant got vaccinated, and more than 130,000 pregnant gave feedback through VSafe, and this leads to CDC to decide vaccination toward the pregnant. So faster data analysis was made possible by our VSafe. This leads CDC to decide whether vaccination can be inoculated to the pregnant or not. So I believe it's safe to say that the VSafe played a crucial role in COVID-19 vaccination and safety profile. So we have to identify safety profiling issues by collecting data at a rapid manner, and this leads to fast decision making. This is all about time, racing against the time, especially under the circumstances of COVID-19 pandemic. And this VSafe application all identified and collected adverse events, which is utilized for faster response. So patients' feedbacks are listened in a rapid manner, and we can collect this information. Building on that, we are able to, or the CDC are able to map out responses. And this is a future direction that the digital health industry will take. So this is the take-home message. So the digital healthcare should consider provision of services, but at the same time, the accommodation of patients' feedback by engaging actively with them. And also, this should be incorporated into the future direction. And in the clinical trial, if they fail to ensure diversity in the clinical trial, this can be a solution. So in the clinical trial setting, there might be underrepresented group, so we can collect data at a broader manner to include the underrepresented in the clinical trial. So our lesson learned is like this. Patient participating application should be utilized, and it should be easy to use. And we ask for satisfactory level of this application, and more than 95% say it is very convenient to use. So it is very easy to use. So the applications that patients use should feature the nature of easy to use. This is the lesson learned that we drew.
So as you can see, with the acquisition of Sonar, we are supporting clinical study, and we also have the database on cloud. We expanded this, and we also included Sonar. So the digital healthcare service of Sonar will be included in our portfolio. So entirely, we are heading for the customer-centric service. Even though it is not available in Korea and we need to go through a legal process for the remote medicine and management of the hospital, but it can be used for the hospital management, insurance management, and government agencies can use this. So we can support 4 stakeholders. So this is the entire suite of portfolio, and we can provide a comprehensive support. With the acquisition of Sonar, as I mentioned before, we can provide the support for all stakeholders, and all these can be provided on cloud. Once again, if you send me the email, then I will send a copy of this presentation file. And this is for your reference. So if you are interested in our portfolio, you can see what kind of solutions are available from the payer's perspective. And still, many people, some of them do not know whether we are a cloud-based service provider, but we are a B2B company, so our clients are mostly companies. So our services are enterprise level service. So the end user customers sometimes do not know what we are doing. But for the last 5 to 6 years, we accelerated the cloud-based service. And in Seoul and Chuncheon, we have 2 regions. And at the end of this year, we will expand it to 42 regions. So compared to other cloud service vendors, we are on par. And when it comes to the infrastructure, we are using the latest architecture. So we can provide the competitiveness in terms of price and performance. And the cloud service of Oracle can be utilized in many ways through the free tier. And you can check your status. And from the healthcare service point of view, you can upload the data on cloud, and you can also utilize the database management, such as autonomous database. When you load the data, everything else will be managed by the DB. So you can utilize these features. On top of the OCI, we have many services. Oracle is strong at database, so when it comes to the database management, compared to all other vendors, we have a variety of services and the basic DB service, and we also have the Exadata level data, which can be handled by DB machine, and this is available on cloud. So from one simple DB to Exadata level DB, you can apply the database, and you can use the public cloud, or you can also use your on-prem infrastructure. So the hardware itself will be located inside the customer center. So please visit our website, and you can use a free tier full trial, and you can see how convenient it is to use this service. Recently, we are promoting data mesh. So data is not located in one place. All the data scattered around will be integratedly managed. And in order to do that, the management of data flow is important. Of course, storing the data is important, but sending the data appropriately in an organic manner should be achieved, just like the circulation of the flow of blood. So we provide this kind of service. And we also provide the ERP as a SaaS. And when it comes to the infrastructure, we ensure security network with the latest equipment. So our price performance is quite high. This ensures the security for medical services, and we meet all the requirements. And we designed it from the security perspective, so we provide a good infrastructure. So time's up, so I'd like to summarize my presentation. Recently, there are many trends, so I covered that. And eventually, in terms of digital healthcare, various data are available, not just the medical data, genetic data, social data, and behavior data. coming from wearable devices are all collected. And through the genetic analysis, we can get the genetic data. So there should be a system that can integratedly manage the data. And we also need to be able to provide integrated service based on good architecture. That's why we acquired the sonar system. And from the hospital-based system, even if you maintain your own system, the data should be collected in one place, and upon approval of patients, the doctors should be able to utilize the patient's data for the medical practices. So that is the clear direction for the future. And with the acquisition of Sonar by Oracle, now we can provide various EHR data and various healthcare services can be combined together. That is the vision of our company. And in the future, we would like to have unified national EHR data, and we also would like to provide the good service based on our system. And please refer to these information, and I hope that you can be inspired to come up with new business idea. If you need this slide deck, please contact me with this email. Then I will send you the copy of this file. This slide is very small, so it would be difficult for you to read, but you can have a copy of this. Thank you very much.